Welcome to McChats here on McGTV, youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. Follow me on Twitter at MikeMcGTV. And it's been a while since we have done an actual movie review. So I brought back Mr. Dan Baugher from 3 Geeks to pick up where we left off with the infamous cult hit Coffin Joe and his Coffin Joe Trilogy. And the first one we did was At Midnight, I'll Take Your Soul? Was that it?
Yes.
Yes. And this one from 1967, I believe, is This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse. And did you ever see that Jon Stewart clip I showed you at the convention?
Yeah. I actually watched it a couple days ago in its entirety.
Oh, the whole interview?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I like that it's a younger Stewart, and he is, looking frankly horrified.
Right. He hadn't become too jaded yet.
Yeah. I think now he would just like sit there with a kind of unhappy smirk on his face.
You're right. That's when he's like, oh my gosh, my first show. I better not mess this up.
Yeah.
And what better way to challenge it than to have Coffin Joe bury you in bugs and dirt in a coffin?
Actually, they should do that for like more talk shows. They just have Coffin Joe on and he buries the host.
But yeah, that's right. He's still very active, right?
Coffin Joe? Yes. He has his... I'm not sure if it's him or just somebody else posting for him, but he has his own YouTube channel in which he puts his old movies, and there are more than I thought there were.
There was At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul. That was 63.
Yeah.
This one, This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse. And the third one in the trilogy, at least, is Embodiment of Evil.
Yeah, but that's much newer. Because it used to be the one where he was like... God, I saw it forever ago, but he was like giving drugs to like college kids. But there's also The Strange World of Coffin Joe.
That's
and
the one
Coffin
I've heard
Joe's
of.
Visions of Terror.
Yeah. But those are more like... I've heard they really have nothing to do with the actual story of Coffin Joe. They're just kind of...
Probably not, but they do have Marins in it for a while at least.
Okay. We might get to those at some point, but I figured you want to focus on the core 3 movies that make up the Coffin Joe story, so it goes. This is the second installment, and it kind of Superman 2's us a little bit in the beginning. It picks up pretty much where the last one left off.
Yeah. Remember when he was just laying there and his eyes were out and everybody thought he was dead? He's not.
I love that it was just an insert shot of like people made up to look like the people from the first movie, and then one guy just has that one line of dialogue saying he's still alive, even though he clearly looks like he's not.
He's got like one eye completely out of socket.
Yeah,
but that's perfectly fine, I guess.
And I love it within the credits. It catches you up on everything that takes place, even though what takes place after they discover he's still alive would have made for an interesting movie in and of itself. The trial and his recovery and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, this one has its own story to tell.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but I just really enjoyed how it fast forwards through certain segments. Like, it'll show a couple of scenes from the movie you're about to watch and then pick up with a brief scene of him in court with his eyes bandaged up and saying, we couldn't find any evidence to implicate him in these murders, so you're free to go, Joe.
Dead people.
Yeah. And then it ends with the doctor removing the bandages, and the first thing, of course, is he starts cackling like a maniac. So, clearly we're letting a very sane and reserved individual back into society.
Oh yeah, I mean, but then it's kind of a catch-22, because who's gonna build coffins and bury people? I mean, nobody respectable in this town wants to, so you get Coffin Joe.
Yeah, everyone seems to have a really down opinion on grave diggers and coffin makers. So we pick up, it's the same village, right?
I think so, yeah.
Well, okay, so we pick up into the same village he was in before, where pretty much everyone knew what was going on. And do you want to take it from there, Dan?
Yeah, sure. So, one of the first scenes you see are all of the villagers looking down the road, and they all have this like oh shit moment, and they run into their houses and they're like grabbing up the children and taking them in, and then here comes Coffin Joe just kind of meandering down the street. Mm-hmm. He still has his plan where he's going to make like the best offspring of himself because blood is immortal.
Yeah, the continuity of blood. Yeah.
Yes. So he just goes ahead and starts kidnapping people like right from the get-go. Now he does have one like scene where he saves this kid from getting run over.
Yeah.
Which makes him kind of human at that point, because he's like, oh look, I'm not such a bad guy. I saved this child, and then the kid's mom just like runs up and grabs him and drags him away.
Well, I will give the movie this. Like what some sequels do, not necessarily horror movie sequels, but what a lot of sequels do is develop or flesh out their leads a little bit more. Yeah. I do like that they threw in some lighter moments, I guess, with the character. He seems a little bit more laid back. He's not quite as intense as he was in the first film. But at the same time, he's not relatable or sympathetic because he's Coffin Joe. But yeah, like that moment where he saves the kid. It's a recurring theme throughout this movie, especially where he keeps saying like children are sacred and they're the most important people in our society, and that plays into a little bit of his emotional state later on in the film.
Yeah, I mean he does like children, but not for the reasons you're supposed to like children. I mean he's not like a child molester or anything.
It's utilitarian. Like he's just like, no, children are better than us. They're purer than us, so they're going to be better than us. And he's all about superiority, so. Yeah,
but I mean, his whole thing about the children, I think, is that they can grow up without this, churchy morality that all the grown-ups around him have, and they can be like real people.
Yeah.
And the science and the blood.
Yeah, that's
not because they're kids that'll grow up and be, happy.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. People. Not like pure of heart or anything like that. Like pure as in they're gonna be more focused than the previous generation.
Yeah.
Like he thinks is like, yeah, they'll have their shit together more than the previous generation with regards to what he perceives as being important.
Yeah, he is still a snazzy dresser, however.
That is true. He rocks that top hat, and I love the combination when he goes to the party and he's in the tux with the top hat.
Yeah, he's also got that badass cloak like half the time. I don't know what you call it, but it's like the Habsy cloak.
That threw me for a bit too, because there was that point where all the villagers were congregating, being like, 6 of our women have been abducted. We know it, and we know it's him. And he's like standing there looking like Superman with the cape. He's like, I'll help you discover who did it, and he did it.
So, of course he did.
Well, the way the abductions go, you never actually see who abducts them. So I guess he was kind of like, I'm going to play with expectations a little bit, make people think there's a copycat or someone else out there, story-wise. Yeah. But then as he's standing there saying, I'll help you, I'm like, you did it. Clearly.
I like how he just wanders into the cop station and he's just like, I'm gonna help you find who's kidnapping everyone, and everybody there is just like, all right, help us do this.
It's like Sherlock Holmes just came in, apparently. Brazilian Sherlock Holmes with his long fingernails. And
he's not creepy anymore. He's like super detective man now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And for this being the same village that all the other horrible stuff happened in, people accepted him being reintroduced into the aesthetic really quick.
Yeah. He never seems to actually have a job either.
Yeah, I've never seen him actually construct a coffin in this movie.
Like in the first one, like part of the bonus part about him being the killer is that he would go to the funeral too.
All the memorials, yeah.
Yeah, and he would just stand there looking all scary.
Yeah, he doesn't really do much here with regards to his job. And so we got our 6 victims to start off with, and his whole idea is he's going to put them through a bunch of fear trials to see who has no fear in response to stuff. And I definitely would have lost that trial because he dumps a bunch of tarantulas all over them while they sleep. That freaked me out.
I would have probably made the stunt wrangler very angry as I stomped them to death. But
I know those actresses probably weren't paid a lot in that time, but that's dedication. I mean, you got to have faith in him and in his vision in order to commit to that. There was one where the thing almost crawled into her mouth. I'm like,
yeah. He's probably sitting there going, it's going to look great on film. It's going to look great on film.
And for that one girl, what's her name? Marcia? For Marcia to
sure.
just be the one who isn't afraid, for her to just be stone-faced that whole time.
Yeah,
when
I'm not
sure
bad. Not bad at all.
When I'm sure the actress is actually terrified.
I don't know. I mean, aren't like the big tarantulas, like don't they come from South America in part?
Yeah, but in the 60s, you still don't expect to have a bushel of them dumped on you.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, it was probably part of the hiring process to get the actresses. It's like, okay, you're pretty, you're going to be in a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any objections to us dumping spiders on you?
And
snakes.
Yeah, snakes later on. That I can see, because clearly they're not going to put actual poisonous snakes in there with the actresses, but I don't know. Some of them look really defensive and look like they were ready to strike at any moment, but...
Yeah, but tarantulas are, I would think, safer than the snakes.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. That's just me. Snakes, I could probably handle a snake crawling all over me. A bunch of tarantulas with their little feet and everything like that just poking you as they climb up you slowly. Like, yeah. That just freaks me out.
All right.
So now you know how to defeat me.
Yes, snakes. Or
a fear
snakes,
factor.
yeah, there. See, I totally learned the lesson there.
What's her name? Marcia. For a while, I thought it was going to go like Bride of Coffin Joe style.
Yeah.
And it does at a certain point, but not with her. I was kind of like, oh, okay, we're going to turn her just into a henchwoman, basically.
Well, he makes the tragic fault of trying to inseminate her to the screams of all the other women getting killed by snakes.
There's no better aphrodisiac. Come on.
Yeah.
Not just their screams, but then he has a little floor panel that he opens up so they can see them or something. And that one lady's like, I'm gonna come back from the grave. I'm gonna get you, Joe.
I'm gonna possess your corpse.
Yep, hence the title. So I did like that it didn't go that expected route with her. What I wasn't really vibing to was the introduction of the actual bride of Joe, because that's convenient.
It seemed kind of fast.
Well, that's a big thing about this movie. Time and space feel very jumbled in this movie, more so than the first one. Because she comes to town. She's got a little bit of an interest in him after he takes out that dude who looks like the engineer from Prometheus.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only time he gets the really red eyes, too.
Yeah.
It kind of made me sad there, because that was one of my favorite parts of the first one.
Yeah, more frequent, especially in the last installment. Yeah, so they have that kind of brief meeting on the road, and then next thing you know, he's coming to the party. And I'm guessing that's hypnotism at work or something, maybe?
I don't know. I think she was really just kind of evil.
It's really very convenient that he finds someone who shares the absolute same ideology he has, like down to the letter.
Yeah. Well, maybe she's like, because she's been educated a little bit, it shows her, playing like awesome piano riffs.
Mm-hmm.
That she doesn't have the same churchy moral background again.
Right.
As everybody else there, so Joe can indoctrinate her with his thought easier.
Maybe she's just straight up a psychopath. And it's just
that's fine too.
Yep, let's carry on the strong genes. Why not? More people. Well, not actually. The body count is surprisingly low for a while. It's just that her brother.
Yeah, but then I like calling that dude Colonel Sanders for some reason. Uh, one of his daughters was killed in his first foray into finding the perfect woman, and he gets Mr. Big Baldy Man to hire a bunch of it says gunmen in my translation.
No one has any guns.
Yeah, but nobody has guns. So they just show up and beat the crap out of Joe for a little while, and they put him on a cart, and like he needs his child to be born, and he won't be having any of this. So he jumps off the cart, hits a dude with razors stuck in his feet.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Boots. Yeah, then he picks up a really, really fake-looking axe and nails some other dude in the head with it.
And then somehow tricks them into walking into what is clearly swamp water.
Yeah, like he's like standing maybe like 15 feet away, and he's like, "Come and get me!" And there's three dudes like standing on this little elevated, hill, and they take like 3 steps and fall into a swamp.
Yeah, which is clearly there. Like, anyone with working eyes would work their way around it. But of course, that one dude has one messed up looking eye.
Yeah. But I mean, they could walk like maybe, I don't know, 4 feet and get out of the swamp.
Yeah. I don't see how this is a problem. But okay.
No. And instead they just kind of like thrash around, and then they're dead.
And you know what might have solved your problem a little faster? If you were actual gunmen who had guns.
Yes. Guns are good in this respect anyway.
So this is where the time and space thing comes into play, because he pops up all over the place in this village. Yep. I have no sense of how big or small this village is, or where like his actual home is located, because people seem to be on the search for him. I'm like, isn't his residence located right downtown, or wasn't it last time?
Maybe get like Google Maps or something and find Coffin Joe.
And also the timeline stuff too, because the daughter is living with him, and then next scene, doctor has visited and says she has news for him. She's pregnant within the span of a day, I'm guessing. And then another day goes by and the doctor's like, you have to choose. You're going to save your wife or the baby, when I'm pretty sure she doesn't even look like she's carrying.
No.
So
Coffin Joe, master of time and space.
I'm like, what's going on? Is this a TARDIS birth? Is this what's going on? Is she actually one of those plastic people that Amy Pond was? And
that's it. See, Coffin Joe is actually just another version of the Master.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
There we go. Come on, BBC, work that into the Doctor Who verse.
And bring in Coffin Joe. He needs to work. That'd be awesome.
That would be kind of cool. So his name it would be El Maestro?
Yeah, sure.
El Maestro. So she dies, right? In apparently childbirth, and child dies too.
But the whole way, I mean, even at the end, she's like, "I'm sorry, Joe."
Yeah. I mean, she was on the same wavelength with him. She's like, "No, save the kid. Fuck my life."
So she's a strong woman in this, not like screaming because of spiders and stuff. That's not for her.
Yeah. I knew that was kind of going to be a staple of this era of horror movie.
Yeah.
The entire time he had his hostages there, I'm like, there's 5 of you. You can take him and this slow ass Bruno down.
I don't know, because Joe could have those straight razors hidden everyhere.
Yeah, he could,
along with giant fake looking axes. He could just go and grab one of the the bad looking pitchfork props and just poke him to death.
You just swipe his music box from him, and he'll lose his shit then.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe that's why his eyes don't go red.
Was that
he's got his happy music box?
Was that in the last movie? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
So in this, like, as I was watching the movie, I'm like, so is Joe on the spectrum, maybe? And the music box is kind of his, soothing tool or whatever, to not be so overstimulated. That could possibly
work.
Well, there you go. It's about a person who might be slightly autistic trying to make sense of the world.
Through blood.
Through blood. I don't know. I'm sure that offended somebody.
Yeah, whatever.
So she dies, son dies. Oh, we
Yeah.
skipped over when he finds out one of his victims was pregnant, because that messes him up.
Yeah, it does, and that also makes him a bit more human than the last film. Because the last film, he's just like, "Rah, screw you guys, I'm awesome."
Yeah, he actually has guilt for a millisecond, and then he gets dragged to the graveyard and into color.
Yeah. Oh man, we totally skipped over that part.
Yeah. I thought we were going to do for the general plot, but it's just like, no, we get caught up in all the cool stuff. Like, yeah, there's a whole sequence in hell. And I won't lie, it's a creative looking hell.
I was watching that part, and I had the TV a bit loud, and I look outside, and the window's open, the neighbor's like staring in. Like not too close. He's just like, where's all the screaming coming from?
I can't imagine someone seeing that scene without the context of the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's on YouTube actually, as Coffin Joe goes to hell. Just that scene.
Just the sequence. I like it's him as the ruler of hell in a Roman toga and I don't know, Bacchus type headdress.
And a whole lot of laughing gas.
Yeah, a whole lot of laughing gas. People are paper machéed into the walls and being whipped.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love
that.
They have like a head and then like a foot and an arm sticking out in like just weird places.
And they're just wiggling.
Yeah.
Not even within the sense of like someone who would be trying to struggle to get free of it. They're just wiggling.
Because there's two ways you can look at that. One, that's one dude's head, and then his arm and leg, which are severed from him. Or that's one dude's head and another person's like body parts, and the rest of them are just, stuck in the wall somewhere.
Or they're human centipeded up the wazoo and just
but like half of them don't even get to see out at what everybody's screaming and or laughing at.
Right. Yeah, after he has the hell vision and Laura, I believe her name is, his beloved dies with child. He goes to the mausoleum, right?
Yeah.
And the villagers finally get their shit together again.
Yeah, we're gonna kill him. Oh yeah, he has a nice talk with the priest.
Yeah, I was like, dude, just take the cross and say you believe in God and everything will be fine.
Which, I mean, I realize that Coffin Joe has, his strong standards, right? But just to live past that,
yeah.
I mean,
you don't have to mean it.
Yeah, I believe in God. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, see you later.
Well, I don't know. He does eventually, but even at that point when he's on the run and nature is doing everything in its power to kill him, like having trees, striking trees with lightning and having the branches fall on him. I don't know. At that point, I'd kind of be like, maybe continuity of the blood isn't such a hot ticket.
But he even talks to the tree when it lands on it.
Yeah.
He's just like, no. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me believe in God, but I'm not gonna.
He's acknowledging a divine presence to spite that divine presence. I don't think, I'm not sure Joe's got quite a mission statement put together firmly.
Yeah, but then, I mean, if you're having, technicolor dreams of going to hell.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I guess you don't have your shit together. So.
I mean, you could argue that the second half of the movie is him slowly unraveling from his beliefs or his outlook. Like, after that dream, he's never quite still Joe. And I kind of appreciated that compared to the last movie, because the last movie, as I recall, like, I didn't care much for him as the person I want to follow in the film, just because he's just thoroughly unlikable through and through, and I'm like, why does no one get that this guy is an asshole? But here, at least, there's a couple of scenes, like you said, that kind of don't soften him up, but give a little bit more depth to him, that I'm kind of like, all right, I can see where he's sort of coming from here.
Like, I kind of like Joe in the first film more.
Okay.
Because he just had some cool badass scenes that I thought were slightly lacking in this one.
Yeah.
this one has a bigger overall theme, but the first movie had like when he's eating meat on Friday, and they're having the whole Catholic procession through town that like, and the priest looks up through his window, and he's just like manhandling the turkey leg or whatever the hell it was.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing when it comes to sequels anyway, is that the first one you kind of establish, okay, here's A, B, and C. And I feel the first movie does that pretty compactly and pretty well. And then the second one, it's like, well, we can retread on some of this stuff, but let's stretch it out a little bit more. Let's get into some stuff a little bit more. Like, let's actually have a woman who would reciprocate his advances fully. And not because, like, she's being hypnotized or drugged or whatever. It's because she's just as fucked up as he is.
But then that begs the question, what kind of God are we dealing with now? Because, I mean, Coffin Joe was actually happy.
The kind that lets corpses float to the top of the river at the end and scare the bejesus out of him, apparently.
Yeah, and throws burning trees at him.
Enough for him to repent and be like, Father, toss me the cross. I believe. I
would have really loved it if the priest just like beamed him in the head with it.
I love
like Joe chucks it at one of the oncoming mob.
Like he meant to actually throw it to him, but he just has that terrible an aim. Fuck you, Padre.
No, it gets struck in lightning or with lightning like halfway to him.
It's a metal conductor, sure. I just love that the whole town is like gathered around that bog just to watch him sink. And everyone just looks, they went from foaming at the mouths wanting to kill him to being like, oh, this is kind of a bummer. Like the colonel looks like forlorn during that whole sequence.
Yeah.
And this is the dude who wanted him dead more than anybody else, and he's just like, bit of a downer for my Saturday night.
Yeah. There's like skeletons floating in there. It's like, you got Joe screaming. I mean, even the priest like just standing there going, man, this sucks.
Well, he did get his Father, Son, the Holy Ghost at the end, the In Nomine Patri at the end, at least. So, but I don't know. I had quite a bit of fun with this, more so than the first movie, personally. I mean, I like the first movie.
Yeah. But
going into it, kind of knowing the tropes of Coffin Joe, that title sequence got me ready for some fun. Because as soon as he just starts cackling, I'm like, oh, okay, so he's just straight up continuing where he left off. There's not going to be any like lapse or amnesia or anything cheesy like that. It's just straight up, he's the same asshole he was.
It's not a Psycho one where like, Norman comes home and he tries to live a normal life.
Right.
No.
Though I do love Psycho 2 for that ending. We got to talk about Psycho 2 sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd recommend this. I feel it's a worthy enough successor to the first one.
I like the first one better, but I by no means am calling this bad.
No.
I like the way it was shot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they use the black and white to great dramatic effect, and even when it goes to color, it's a weird color, man. It's like saturated everywhere.
Yeah,
and it doesn't help that it's in hell with the soundtrack of everybody screaming and moaning and laughing.
That design looked great too with the color scheme that they were going for too. So it felt alien.
I can even discount the really bad looking props.
Yeah, me too. I will say, whatever. I agree with you on the idea that like the actions and the dramatic moments were better executed probably in the first one, but also I feel that plays into the one thing that I always had a raised eyebrow at throughout this entire viewing was the editing was messing with me like nothing. Like I don't remember having that problem with the first one. I could follow the first one pretty steadily as to, okay, we're transitioning from this scene to this scene. Whereas in this one, it's like, he makes love to Laura. Next scene, doctor's there saying she's pregnant. I'm like, Jesus.
Well, I mean, Coffin Joe has super sperm because of his great, blood. You see?
Yeah, I guess.
How else is the Antichrist going to be born? Come on.
I don't know. I don't know if I can assign that to the mythology of Coffin Joe, especially since nothing has been established other than him boasting about his seed. The dude loves to brag. Let's not kid ourselves. Which I guess would be another thing is the one Coffin Joe trope I've picked up on throughout these two movies at least. Whenever he starts on a rant about his superior genes or his superior bloodline, I'm kind of like, okay, I've heard it before, dude. This is all you talk about. Come on.
Well, he's very single-minded in his conquest of the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it was part of me seeing as where this movie was going with regards to his counterpart in Laura. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more than just, hey, we agree on this. But I guess it works. I would have liked to see, like, okay, I could see someone out there somewhere possibly falling for this asshole. Based on the fact that he can be maybe mysterious or intimidating or charming. But no, it's because I share your ideology of continuity of the blood. Let's do this. I'm like, okay, fine.
Although, I would like to see an alternate ending in which, like, you see Coffin Joe, family man. He's like sitting there smoking his pipe, reading the paper.
Kids playing with the music box at the table.
Yeah.
We were talking about this with Dr. Doom at the convention. Slice of life, Coffin Joe.
Yeah. It's like, I got nobody to kill today. We're good.
Daddy, you have to take me to Little League. Little League. You are the superior player on the T-ball team.
Damn it, I broke a nail.
Oh, man. So, we'll eventually get to Embodiment of Evil, but I decided to read up a little bit. If they continue on with Coffin Joe films beyond this trilogy, is this the way every movie's going to start? Is that at the last second, someone's going to be like, hey, he's actually alive!
That'd be awesome.
Because apparently that's how the next one starts, is someone's just like, he's found to be alive at the last second from that.
Someone gets the bright idea to actually, like, bring a stick and they get him out of the the swamp.
Someone's like, we should probably help him.
It's like, an inordinate amount of townspeople have died just by wandering into the swamp. Like, whoa!
And it's easily avoidable from what we've seen.
Yeah. They just put up a lifeguard seat there.
Not our fault those gunmen and what's his name, Abracadabra, whatever the big dude's name was.
Yeah, I forget now.
Oh, Trunkador.
Trunkador, yes. Which means something, but I don't know what.
It means big dude, I'm guessing.
That's what Google's for.
No, the first time I saw that guy, I was like, is that the engineer from Prometheus? It looks a lot like the engineer from Prometheus.
Trunkador, there's no time for this now?
Is that the...
Okay, there we go.
Is that the translation?
Yeah, apparently.
He didn't have time for that shit. Get framed for murder? Fuck that. Get me out of prison. I'll find the real guy.
No, hold on.
While you're searching that up, I had to say I did like that frame job they pulled on him. That was kind of clever. Kill the brother.
Yeah.
Get your accomplice Marcia to seduce Trunkador to go down and play poker with him for a while. Then make it look like he smashed the brother's head in with a rock, apparently.
Oh, no. These are lines from the movie. So I guess that's just her name, or his name. But yeah, below, there's no time for this now. Trunkador brought the bad men, and we'd better go. Trunkador brought his gunmen.
Okay.
That did not have guns. So I guess that's just a name.
And showed up for a job drunk.
Yeah. Good job, everyone.
Good job. But no, I recommend This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse.
Oh yeah,
it's fun.
I mean, if you can watch it back to back with the first one,
it syncs
that's
up.
How it works.
Yeah, it syncs up pretty well. It's like Rogue One and A New Hope.
Yeah, except they didn't have to bring back anybody from the dead to star in the movie.
There's no creepy CGI. I can't remember anyone from the first film.
Although that could probably help. Whoa.
I mean, we'll see with Embodiment of Evil, because that actually picks up in modern day. It's not like the next day, right?
I have no idea. I will be looking forward to it as much as you are.
All right. So we'll eventually get to wrap up the Coffin Joe trilogy. But yeah, check out At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul, and then immediately have a follow-up with this film. Again, it's kind of amazing and kind of fun. It made me enjoy watching Coffin Joe a little bit more. I mean, he's a fine enough character to follow, but this time I was kind of like, you know what? A little part of me wants to see him succeed.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like your normal horror movie bad guy. He just has his priorities, which are different than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
and he will go and try and finish what he wants.
Oh, in the next movie, maybe he'll actually build a coffin.
Yeah, or get a real job.
You've been listening to another installment of the Coffin Joe trilogy here on McChats. Thank you once again, Dan, for introducing me to this glorious old school series of films. And definitely also check out the Jon Stewart Show clip featuring Coffin Joe. It's fun to see young, finicky Jon Stewart face to face with this intimidating, vampiric looking character on his show. So
also, I haven't found them yet, but apparently he was the host to a bunch of horror movies on like a local TV show down in Brazil or wherever he came from.
Well, if we can track those down, maybe we'll do a segment on them as well.
Cool.
All right. You've been listening to McChats here on McGTV, youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. And again, follow more of Dan on the Three Geeks podcast, youtube.com/Three Geeks Network. You guys just did Animaniacs last night?
We did. Yeah, we did season 3 of Voltron and the DuckTales movie, something about a lost lamp or something.
Oh, the one from the 90s.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know the new DuckTales is coming out, so I was like, oh okay.
Yeah.
But season 3 of Voltron's already out?
Yeah, it's more of a half season.
Okay.
It's 7 episodes now, but they're supposed to have another 7 or so shows by the end of October.
Oh, okay. Be sure to check that episode of Animaniacs out at the Three Geeks Network. And till next time, I guess, I don't know, something Coffin Joe related.
Yeah. Until next time, build a coffin.
There you go. Actually build a fucking coffin.
Yeah, and maybe Coffin Joe will come and visit. There you go. We need to make like a Coffin Joe backstory, like he'll show up like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny.
Or like Bloody Mary. Say his name 3 times while you're eating a big leg of lamb.
Yeah, while sleeping in your coffin.
He'll show up at your window and eat the leg of lamb in front of you.
And then he'll cackle maniacally and wander off.
And then get hit by a tree branch.
Yeah. You won't get me, God. I've got my lamb.
Even though I don't believe in you, you still won't get me.
Yes. That never works.
Continuity of blood. Till next time.